Jesus Christ. That's That's my co-host, Jonathan Miranda, my cousin, and I am your host, Chris Seger. This is For the Geeks podcast, episode 29, recorded here on March 8th at 1:27 p.m. Boy, we have Stufin to talk about with you guys. This fool is sick, so he wants me to blab on about random stuff all the time. I'll try to pull shit out of my ass as much as I can, except actual shit. Hopefully you guys can enjoy this shit. A quick warning before we actually begin, though. For you Apple users on your device, if you plan to subscribe to our Patreon, it's only $1. Do it through a browser. If you use Safari, use Chrome, use whatever, just do it through a browser. Or for an Android user, do it through the Android app of Patreon. Do not use the iOS app of Patreon to subscribe. You can use it to view and access content, but don't hit the subscribe button on it, because apparently, if you Google this, Apple will charge you 30% more for a tax to use their app. So that's completely stupid, in my opinion, because Android doesn't have that problem. Go Android. So yeah, again, make sure if you plan to subscribe, don't do it on the iOS app. Do it anywhere else, preferably a browser. But yeah, let's get through what we went through this week. Besides the fact that you're completely fucking sick, John. What'd you go through?
Oh, I had my audit this week at work, and it went bad, and that gave me stress ulcers, and then I fucking...
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah, of course it is. I didn't actually get a stress ulcer, but...
Oh, okay.
That happened, and then I got sick because one of them fucking brought a sickness back with them from Texas, which I'm not obviously familiar with my body. Ew. So I fucking caught it, and then I got really fucking sick, and I tried to walk it off for like 2 days, and I just couldn't. And I was like, nope, I'm going down right now. And the very next day I went home, and I fucking crashed out in my bed.
Damn.
The last like 3 days I've been like bedridden.
Any medicine helping? Like mellow it out?
Not really.
Oh.
Like, it kind of works a little bit, but like it just wasn't working well.
I see. I hate when that happens too.
I tried, but I did get I wanted to watch some things, but I just couldn't even like sit my head up. And then the times I could sit my head up, I wanted to like hang out with somebody or like do something that way. I wasn't fucking like just sitting here by my lonesome.
Damn.
So I started playing Remnant 2 again with Brooks, because we had the DLCs and we never played the DLCs, so that's fucking cool. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of new stuff to do there, a bunch of new classes to like fiddle around with and mix and match. Mm-hmm. Got what do you call it? Shit, I got Monster Hunter Wilds and I started that up, so I'm enjoying that so far.
Oh, cool.
It's fun, but
but
I haven't gotten super far into it yet, so I can't speak on the difficulty of the game, but I kind of already feel like I'm in a game where I'm going to be able to walk through it pretty easily. Mm-hmm. The difficulty doesn't seem to spike at any given point in the beginning right now, but I'm only 3 monster hunts in, so I'm not like that far. I'll have more news on that next week whenever I fucking get to it.
Fair enough.
What else did I do this week? Shoot. I don't think I got Pike sick, but she was being weird for a couple days too, so I think we both just got sick.
How would you get your cat sick? That's not
my fault. She fucking crawled. You don't know that.
You can't give an animal a sickness from a human. That's not how that works. It works the other way around. If they have rabies, they can give it to you. If you have a flu, you can't give it to a cat. That doesn't work.
I gave COVID to a cat once, and it passed it along to everyone else in the house. And it also was feeling sick. Like, I swear to God.
Cats can get COVID? What the fuck? That's weird.
It happened. I was worried because I was worried more about the cat than I was about the roommates at the time. It was funny.
Well, people suck, animals don't. So.
And ever since then, that cat never like cuddled up or curled up with me ever again because it probably remembered, oh, this motherfucker got me sick.
Is that bald fuck again?
Yeah. It was like,
Damn.
I got sick that one time. I did not feel great. I'm never going to curl up and cuddle with him again. And I was
You
like,
fucked
that's
up.
sad.
You fucked up.
Oh, Pike loves me, so.
Oh, God. That's right.
What else? We got Jack his new computer stuff, so
Oh,
hopefully
hell
he'll be
yeah.
able to get that up and running soon. We'll find out today when he talks to his bro.
I
his
can carry him
bro-ham.
Terraria for real. I mean, what?
Well, he'll be able to play a bunch of other stuff too, because like his old computer was not like as good as the stuff we got for him.
Right,
We weren't able to get him something uber crazy, but we got him some really fucking cool stuff.
That's good.
So I'm hoping that he'll be able to at least like play most of the stuff we play along with some newer things. That way he can try out stuff, like especially indie stuff, because he always finds these cool like indie looking games.
Oh yeah, like the most random game you guys ever played was Oh Dear. Cause I remember watching you guys play that. I'm like, what is this shit? That was totally random.
That one was fun. That one was a fun one. I saw that one
fun.
And I was like, dude, hide and seek with deer sounds like a great fucking time. I love these kinds of like party games, you know?
Yeah. You should try Oh Sir, the Insult Simulator, if you've never heard of that one. That one's
I don't think I
your
have.
goal is to insult the shit out of the other person with the insults built into the game, and whoever wins moves on to the next phase and whatever. Ryan and I did that. He was better at it than I, but like they have the most random insults that'll just make you laugh because like some of it is just like corny as hell. But yeah, that one's a goofy indie game.
I wanted to get Repo.
What's that?
It's that, I don't know if you've seen it. It's that newer-ish game with the like little like cylinder like trash can looking people with like the stick figure arms. They walk around and they like repo old stuff from like abandoned places or whatever. And it's basically like Lethal Company, where you're going in and taking stuff out of a place, but there's like dangerous stuff in the place. So like there's always a risk of being like killed somehow. And you're basically just taking stuff back from people's houses and repoing it.
The fucking image on Steam is nightmare fuel. It is that expressive smiley face with the tears coming out like and then the most horrendous looking eye sockets that the eyes are sunken in with nasty teeth. What the fuck is this shit? Ew.
Watch the video. Watch the video real quick. It's hilarious.
Christ. Oh god.
It's I've seen people playing it and it looks like it's funny as shit. Because like there's this one enemy that only like activates or like attacks on noise, kind of like how the dogs in Lethal Company do. And fucking everyone in the room is like, oh god, it's coming, and then everyone just shuts up, and like when they crouch, they like shrink down to these little like fucking like cubes. So it just goes, and you're just like a flat disc on the floor. And you're just kind of like hovering around trying to move. Like, don't say a word. And then someone's like, I'm not going to say anything. I was like, I'm not even speaking. And like, they're trying to whisper, but somebody whispers just a little bit too loud. And the dude turns around, just blam, one shots him right in the face. Guy dies. And they're like, and you just see the other person who's streaming it, just straight face, just like, and just fucking like slinks away. It's fucking hilarious. It looks like it's a fun time. It looks like.
It sounds like it. Is that it?
Shitty. Yeah, that's basically it for me.
Okay, for me, I watched the cool. I like Death Battle. I don't care if you don't like it, people. Fuck off. I like it because
Death Battle's cool.
Yeah, I like it because it answers questions that people have about like, oh, who would win from this universe and this universe? Because people are curious, and then there's always haters. Like, it doesn't fucking matter because it depends on the author. The quote. Not to quote Stan Lee, to reference Stan Lee, because he's talked about like, oh, who would win a fight, this person or this person. He's like, it doesn't matter because the author of the comic can always make this person stronger. I'm like, yeah, but people still want to fucking know. People still want to know. It's like with Superman and Goku. As much as I love Dragon Ball, compared to a comic book character, he's not going to win. He'll never beat Superman because no, it's been explained by Death Battle. But
Did they use Ultra Instinct in his death battle or no?
Yeah, but it still wasn't strong enough because like
mastered or partial?
Mastered, silver hair. That was part 3, and yeah, but still, Superman always wins because he's literally he's a god. He doesn't have very many weaknesses, and Goku can just be tired out from stamina alone. Well, Superman, as long as there is a sun nearby, he can keep going forever.
That is true,
and whatnot. Plus,
and
I'll
Goku
always
doesn't fight dirty, so
neither does Superman really. But I'll always use this reference with Superman is that unless your character can pull a chain of planets from one solar system to another, shut the fuck up, because that's an incredible fucking feat. Pulling them through space and whatever.
Yeah.
Planets. Okay. But yeah. I watched the Death Battle episode that came out was Ghost Rider versus Spawn. For those of you who want to watch it, skip this section. Spoiler, but Spawn wins because as much as it wasn't just any Ghost Rider. It was Johnny Blaze.
Should have taken like 5 more seconds on that spoiler alert.
Sorry. My bad. But look at you dying. No, but it's Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze, apparently, I don't know much about Johnny. I knew a little bit more about Robbie. Robbie's technically the best Ghost Rider because he's the only Ghost Rider that did not receive the Spirit of Vengeance from, like, it wasn't passed to him. He got it because his uncle was possessed, and then he got possessed. So, and Robbie, I think, it also becomes the Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is the strongest one. Anyway, this was Johnny Blaze. Johnny doesn't have the best relationship with the Spirit of Vengeance. He's always trying to combat the Spirit, which you're not supposed to do if you want to be a powerful Ghost Rider.
Yep, correct.
It's like the character in Jujutsu Kaisen with Sukuna and whatever. You're constantly not wanting to use that power. You're going to be handicapped for a long time because you yourself aren't strong enough unless you tap into it. Huh?
Handy quacks.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I thought that the penance stare would kill Spawn, but it didn't, because Spawn is like, Johnny is like, oh, you'll die for all the sins you've committed, and Spawn is just like, sin makes me stronger, and it didn't do shit to him, and Spawn has reality warping powers. He's fought literal gods and killed them multiple times. And he has his own version of the penance stare that he fired back at Johnny and obliterated him from existence. So, yeah, Spawn is one of those incredibly powerful super characters in a comic that doesn't get a lot of spotlight, but he's just insanely strong. He could wipe the floor with a lot of Marvel and DC characters easily. I'd love to see more
playable character in Soul Calibur 2 for the Xbox.
Yep. And what's interesting about Ghost Rider is, I guess, because I heard Johnny Cage say "get over here" when he threw the chain at Spawn in the animation of the video. That is referencing the Mortal Kombat Scorpion, because in Mortal Kombat, Scorpion is the Ghost Rider of that universe. I'm like, that's interesting how that was written, but okay.
Interesting. How did that come about?
I don't know. I have to look it up, but that's what the comments said, because people were like, why is he referencing Scorpion? He's not in Mortal Kombat. It's like, yeah, actually, this is connected. I'm like, all right, whatever. But yeah, I liked it because I love Spawn. I finished the Eminence and Shadow anime. It was fucking phenomenal. I want the goddamn movie already because we haven't heard anything since 2023. December is when the trailer dropped for season 2. That cliffhanger of an ending. Oh my God. I won't spoil it because Jose, I know, is watching this, and Simon will eventually get to it. I don't want to spoil it, but this anime is so goddamn ridiculous. Like, there is a line in there that's hilarious because the main character, he says, like, when did this stop? He's like, this stopped being a fantasy isekai. Now it's a romantic comedy. I'm like, oh my God. He's being so meta, but he's right. There was a moment where the tone shifted to like romantic shit, and he pointed that out. I thought that was genius, fourth wall breaking.
Just a little bit, just the tiniest bit. It wasn't like massive, I feel like.
No, but it was fucking funny. I love when authors do shit like that. So that one was cool. And then because I finished that, I started Daredevil, where I left off the Netflix show.
Yeah.
It was season 2. It was Frank's trial. So I had to go watch the episode previous to that. And then I'm on episode 11 now. And that is where, well, Frank is in a diner with Karen, and he used her as bait. That's basically what happened. And he's looking for the blacksmith who orchestrated the death of his family, and he's going to get revenge on the blacksmith, whoever the fuck this guy is, because he's a goddamn ghost. It's probably someone I don't even expect, but I'm excited because I love the writing. It's very violent. And then after this, after I watch just the rest of season 2 and then season 3 of Daredevil, I'm going to watch season 2 of Punisher, because I remember season 1. I didn't watch much of season 2 because this is why I stopped Daredevil also, is because Marvel at the time announced that these shows would not be canon to the MCU. That. And then they're like, oh, wait, let's change things, and we bring them back. I'm like, okay, cool. So now I have to refresh my mind on that. I would love for Marvel or Hasbro to release a good Frank Castle figure of John Bernthal's Punisher, because I haven't seen one. It's usually the comic book versions, and I prefer the live action because that's the Punisher I'm used to, is this one. I didn't read I didn't read any Marvel comics. But yeah, it's really good. What else did I do? I gave up playing Guild Wars 2 because I'm bored of that. I gave up because there was such good story leading up to End of Dragons. End of Dragons was fantastic, and then End and Secrets of the Obscure expansion happened. And I'm like, this is boring as shit, and I don't care about any of these characters. And the same thing happened with Final Fantasy XIV. Heavensward was good. Stormblood was Shadowbringers, fantastic. Endwalker was great. And then after that, I'm just like, now I'm burnt out on good story, because now there's no more good story, because Dawn Trail apparently was lame as shit according to Jose. So I'm like, I'm not even going to bother until they come back with some really good story. Because I primarily play that MMO and Guild Wars 2 for the story itself, even though most people play shit for gameplay. I really like a story to help me immerse in the world. So I gave that up, and I'm going to go back to streaming Final Fantasy X. Probably not tonight, because we have more Bro Night stuff. We're going to play Mecha Break, as well as more Tabletop Simulator, which will be good. Will you be there? I mean, I know you're sick as shit, but
I think I'll be able to play tonight.
Okay.
I'll find out throughout the day today if I'm able to focus better.
I
saw you guys went on last night anyways.
You were there, and I'm like, he's not responding. He's busy. He's lurking. But I tried... Mecha Break has, if guys you don't know, it's a free-to-play, it's a Chinese game, yes, but I don't care. It's free-to-play, it's a mech fast-paced game like Armored Core meets Overwatch Hero Shooter, so there's 3 game modes, only 2 are accessible. There's 3v3 Team Deathmatch, which is not out. There's 6v6, which is the Hero Shooter playstyle for multiplayer, and then there's the 60-player PvPvE, so player versus environment extraction mode. I've never played an extraction game before, so this should be fun.
They're so fun.
It's fast-paced, so if you like Gundams and giant mechs that fly faster than 200 miles per hour, then you should check this game out. It's really fun. I tried playing it with a controller, and I'm like, I can't do this shit. I have to play with a mouse and keyboard. It's much faster with mouse and keyboard.
There it is.
But it's really cool.
I have seen a lot of what do you call it? Just the demo, right?
Yeah, just the demo's out right now.
I have seen a lot of
because
hype around this game. A lot of people have been promoting it, and a lot of people have been
because of the ass
talking about it. No, because of the actual gameplay.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it on a lot of different people's channels across a lot of different streamers, especially like the different types of streamers. So like I've seen it from on Maximilian's page. I've seen it on who is it? I've seen it on fucking the Kind of Funny page a couple of times, I think.
Oh, cool.
I've seen it on a lot of different like places online around everywhere. So like I'm interested to see how it turns out.
Yeah, you'll see me stream it tonight.
So I'll download it right now.
It's good. It's only like 30 gigabytes.
Yeah. It shouldn't take me more than 5 minutes to download.
For listeners, what I meant by ass is because most of the videos I see of this is streamers saying things like, "Oh my God, look at the details of the hangar and the mechs and everything," while in the foreground is a female character with a large jiggly ass, and the comments are like, "Yeah, where's the hangar?" Shit like that. Everyone's a fucking degenerate, and I love it. But yeah, that's what we're playing. And then I actually read the plot. I didn't want to read the manga of Junji Ito. I don't know how to say his name properly. The horror manga artist, the horror mangaka, who created Spiral, which is failures in anime, success of a manga.
It's called Uzumaki.
Uzumaki, whatever. It's penis. It was, I read one of his odd ones called Hellstar Ramina, and it is goddamn terrifying, and I was not able to sleep. Granted, I was high. I was not able to sleep after I read the plot. Yeah, I read the plot, and I'm trying to sleep, and I'm like, I swear to God, there better not be no goddamn sentient planet out there. I swear to God.
The thing you missed out on, though, is like the visual aspect of everything going on. Like, sure, you read the plot.
No, but I looked at the images. I'm like, I want to see what this looks like, and I flipped through pages.
You gotta get it at the same time.
Shut up!
You gotta get the same. It's not the same.
The story isn't that great according to people because it's like fucking everywhere. But the TLDR is it's Earth. This is a fucking psychological and horror ass story. My friend Jenna loves horror, so she's like, "Oh my God!" It's the story is it takes place on Earth. There's a girl named Ramina. She discovers this planet out in space, and Earth is like, "Oh, we'll name it after this girl." Whatever. I think that's the plot. Yeah, and when that happens, the planet turns around and faces Earth, and then starts heading towards Earth. Faster than light, like really, really quickly. And it's got a big fucking eyeball. It's got lips and a big ass tongue. And it's got eyes everywhere. And what does it do? It's amoral. So it doesn't know good from bad. It just eats. It eats planets bigger than itself. It consumed all the planets in our solar system because it wanted to. And they sent astronauts there to explore the surface of Hellstar Ramina. When they got there, it looks like fucking hell. There's spikes in trees everywhere. Everything looks like it'll tear your eyes apart just looking at it. I can't even describe how much detail this author puts into all of his work. It's incredible.
Insert picture.
Actually, video. I should. Oh my God, I should insert the picture. Yeah, because it's horrifying. And once they get to the planet, one of the astronauts takes their helmet off, they immediately melt and become a part of the biomass that is the planet. And it's insane because these people are stuck on the planet and they're like, we can't get out of here. We're stuck because they crash landed on the surface, so they're just going to give up and die. And then at the end of this story, Ramina just eats the Earth and all 8 billion people on it are dead because it felt like eating it. And that's all it does. There's no happy ending here. It's a horror story. It just eats planets. That's fucking terrifying. Imagine looking at the sky, seeing a giant planet come towards you like in Majora's Mask, but way more terrifying because it's eating your planet. I'd rather the planet explode than be eaten by a planet and then just suffering whatever the fuck is inside the planet. No thank you. Just end it right away. That is God damn, that is horrifying. I'll put the pictures here in the video cuz that's what I went through this week.
It's a good time. I'm glad you got to get into the cultured side of the manga world.
Fuck. Yeah. And let's segue into some geek news. We have some.
Gotta work on those segues. Gotta work on those segues.
I'm gonna segue into your cheeks. Shut the fuck up, sicky sick. He's dying over here. No, but in lighter news, there's some good geek news for this week. Monster Hunter Wilds sold 8 million copies. Of course. Oh, yeah. No surprise. Everyone's fucking playing it. I know from people that have played it, they're like, it's not the same as World. It's not as hard. There's a couple things that make it easier, which is fine. Because I mean, we talked about this in the last.
Heartbeat monitor is a cool addition. I think that's fine.
That's cool. I like that. That'll help you find.
I don't think it's super bad.
No. That's totally fine.
Ooh,
yeah,
that was bright. Flashbang.
Yeah, that was cool. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. Why did I put that there?
That I'm a little bit worried about, only because I got the first one, 1 and 2. I played it. Obviously, it's good. It is a very telling and faithful recreation of the game as it is. I enjoyed what time I did play with it, but the one big gripe I had was that the online multiplayer was just so bad.
Damn.
Just the connectivity issues, just never good.
That's
all sorts of problems, all things considered.
Yeah.
I'm worried that this one might have the same problem because they never fixed the original's problems with network connectivity issues. So like what? Yeah, anybody who's looking to get this game is definitely getting it for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
For wanting to replay these classic old skating games, but it's like part of that experience was playing with your friends and doing like playing graffiti or playing skate and doing some crazy shit. And it's like this kind of makes it difficult to do those things when you can't get the multiplayer right. So for the single player aspect, it is a great thing, and I'm super excited for it. I probably won't get it on launch. I'll probably get it.
Does it have local
when it goes on sale again? I don't remember. It's been a while since I played it.
Because I didn't play it. I didn't play multiplayer when I was growing up with it. I played if it had. I don't remember if the originals had local co-op, but I always played single player.
The originals had local.
Okay, yeah, that's the only way I played it. I didn't play online at all because I wasn't allowed to. I only played the first 2. Dude, I was young. I wasn't allowed to play online games until I turned 13. My first online game was Warcraft 3. Yeah. And I had to learn about opening ports so I could host servers.
Let's see.
But yeah,
there was local co-op for 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. See, that's the only way I played. I played the shit out of the first one. The second one, I didn't own it, but I played the shit out of it at my friend's house because he unlocked everything.
I meant the remastered one. The remastered one has local co-op as well.
Oh, okay.
The originals all had local co-op. Don't get your panties in a bunch, internet. Okay. The new ones that I was unsure.
These two though, 3 and 4 do not include free roam. I don't know if the original had that, but yeah, there's no free roam in that, and I don't really care because you just load a level and do skateboarding.
Yeah, that's how the originals were. They didn't have free roam. Free roam was something that came around with Thug.
Skate?
No, with Thug.
What the hell's Thug?
Tony Hawk's Underground. Come on.
See, I didn't play that either. The only Tony Hawk games I played were 1, 2, and whatever one was the portable one on Game Boy Advance. I played that. Yeah. That one was fun.
No, Thug was probably the best Tony Hawk's skateboard games ever got. Like they were at the time. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at this solely from the world of Tony Hawk's. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters were very classical in the way that we expected, but arcadey of skating games. So everything that we know about playing a skating video game is built off of a Tony Hawk's, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Thug turned the world on its head when it came out because it was the first free roaming and story-based Tony Hawk's game. So you still had the classic Tony Hawk feel of like, I'm doing some insane, crazy bullshit where I do 4 fucking kickflips before I land.
Yeah.
But you also get to move around a large map where you can do kind of anything, do your objectives, find like side quests and do random stuff. Things like that. And it was all like built into a story of you turning from an amateur skater into a pro skater.
I think I actually played the first Thug on PSP, right? That came out on PSP as well.
I'll fact check.
Because I played a 3D Tony Hawk game and it was handheld because I had the Game Boy one, which is 2D. I'm pretty sure there was 1 or 2 for PSP and I played the shit out of that one.
They had Tony Hawk's Underground 2 remix for the PSP.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I played then. That one was fun. I really enjoyed that one as well. So yeah, I remember But I mainly remember the first Tony Hawk game because I played everyone knows that one. You play the shit out of that in the fucking hangar level. That one was awesome. With of course, fucking Superman, awesome song and shit.
Yeah,
that's when I got introduced to ska music. Fuck yeah. But speaking of old games and whatnot, segue. Acclaim,
much better.
The company has returned from the dead. Known for making many sports games as well as the famous Turok series, which I've never played before. And their goal is to revive classic games. No, I never played, because again, when I was young, I was not allowed to play rated M games. The first rated M game I played was Doom, because the blood was pixels, so it wouldn't, according to my mom, it wouldn't traumatize me. And then after that, I played Halo, and that wouldn't traumatize me either because all the alien blood was blue. Which is funny because I'm like, there's guns in here, but the blood is your concern? Okay. And then after that, I played Nightmare Creatures, which was fucking terrifying. Yep, I still hate that game because it's so scary. At least it was back then. But yeah, I didn't play a lot of rated M games until I hit 16 and my mom stopped giving a shit. But all the games had to be approved through my Uncle Neil, because he worked for Activision, and my mom would be like, is this okay for him to play? And he's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
That's funny. My dad literally got me a PlayStation for my 9th birthday. And all I had played before this, mind you, was like Sonic the Hedgehog, fucking Super Mario Brothers, old like Nintendo games that were very kiddish, and old Sega games that were very arcadey kiddish, nothing like too crazy or mature.
Yeah.
My dad gets me a fucking PlayStation and goes with, Tenshu is a great game for you to play.
Yeah. You said this in the past one.
And it's just like, I played it and I was like, okay, that's a lot of blood.
And you turned out just fine. Blood. See?
Yeah, definition of fine, but that's fun. I find people's stories about how their parents fucking like sheltered them from certain video games as kids is funny as hell, because I'm just like, dude, I don't know if my dad meant to do it or not, but I totally was not ready for something like that to happen.
Yeah, because like all the kids around my age, when I was in middle school back then, they were playing like Grand Theft Auto 3 and San Andreas and Vice City. I'm like, I never got to play that because I was too sheltered to enjoy any of that shit.
All of them.
I was busy playing anything that was rated T. I was playing that. I was allowed to play.
Yeah,
but I bought the definitive edition of GTA 3 and all that shit, so I'll eventually stream that. For as ugly as it looks, I still would play it.
You can mod it since you have it on PC, so like
PC's the best. Yeah,
mod it and make it a little bit better, you know.
But I can't wait for Turok remake because I want to play that. Since I never got to play the original. God. What?
I look like a fucking raccoon.
No, you don't, because you're brown. Yeah.
No, you can see it right there.
That would be no. But yeah, so I like that Acclaim's coming back to revive classic games. Like you said in a previous podcast, I hope more companies can revive their old classics, and despite either remaster or remake them for people today to enjoy, because us old fans of old games can always help influence new fans and whatnot. Because I'm constantly telling one of my coworkers, did you play this game? And he says no. And I'm like, you need to play this game. This was fantastic. Whatever. And yeah, I know a lot of people get turned away by that because the graphics are old, but I'm like, just get over it. Like one game that I played that was what?
I was just saying, to be fair for the graphics, it's like it was an age. You're kind of living. You get to live through like a piece.
What we lived through.
I'm making it like sound like extra grandiose than it needs to be, but like it's like you're living through a piece of history. You guys get to see video game history in its making. Like the thing I like of a lot of newer remasters or remakes they make for like old retro games is that you get the option of playing it with upgraded HD graphics or the original graphics, like the Legacy of Kain combo that just came out,
or the Halo Master Chief collection. You do that.
Yeah, like you can play with the old graphics to the new graphics. You can see what it was like for us back then as fucking kids, or you can play it with something updated but still get the same experience.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
There was one game that I actually played that was super old that I never played before, but it was fantastic. This was a couple years ago. It's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh yeah.
That is a fantastically ugly game, but it is a fantastically well-told story game that rivals writing of peak BioWare in terms of like Knights of the Old Republic. That's how far I'm willing to go with that argument because wow, I've learned so much about the vampires and everything. And
I
went
real lore baked into it and things like that. Like it felt like it was a concise thought.
If you do want to play it, any listeners, if you want to play it, make sure you fucking download the patches. It will fix your game. It's constantly every year, every couple months, there's an update to make sure the game is flowing. Where did you go? John? Hello? We're experiencing technical difficulties. What the fuck?
I turned my camera off on purpose. I had to blow my nose.
Oh my god. You can just do it under the table. Jesus Christ. Anyway, like I was saying, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline is fantastic. There's multiple different races. One of my favorites was the one I went to because of my fucking ADHD ass is the Malkavian race. I decided to let the game pick for me what race I wanted to be because each race is different of vampire. There's the Nosferatu race, which you look like an ugly monstrosity. So you can't go out during the day. You have to stay. You can only move through the night like an actual vampire. There's the Bruja race, which is they're dark skinned. They're a different type of vampire. I forgot what they do specifically. Malkavian is the mental issue one because if you are talking to somebody and they ask you a simple question like how do you get from this street to that street, you'll answer.
I just realized that my mic was muted. Sorry.
No, that's fine. You'll answer as a Malkavian after you're asked like what street to get to. You'll be like, I love when the moon is red. It boils my blood and makes me feel alive. And then the NPC will just say, okay, thank you for that. Goodbye. You'll say the most random out-of-pocket shit sometimes, and the NPC will react accordingly, which is hilarious because my goofy ass says shit like that all the time.
You tell people how you like the moon blood red?
No, I've never seen it blood red. But anywho, I can't wait for the sequel. If it ever gets fucking made because it's constantly like pushed back with development and what have you, and plus they're like not including all the races, which is disappointing because I wanted to see the Malkavian race in there, but it's not in there. There's only a couple races, and yeah, I have no idea when that game's coming out either. Sucks.
Nah. It'll get announced, I'm sure.
I hope so.
I know I've seen a lot of that game, Vampire the Masquerade. Games have come out. Those games have like come out a lot recently.
No, they just have they have the battle royale one, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline Hunt. It's called the Hunt or something, and that's the battle royale one that people play.
I could have sworn there was more than that.
There's other ones, but there hasn't been any new releases. That one came out a couple years ago. In terms of other recent news, though, for anime, One Punch Man Season 3 finally got announced. His release month is going to be in October of this year, which I am very excited to see. I don't read the manga, but everyone, it's been 6 years since Season 2 came out, so I'm really excited for that. Are you excited for that?
What
do you mean, eh?
I like watched Season 1, and that's like as far as I got.
Really?
With the series.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I can understand the impact One Punch Man has on like the community.
It's ridiculous.
It's jokiness essentially. It's make fun of these overpowered characters kind of approach, but like to me, I don't know, just the story itself doesn't like kind of draw me into it and keep me there.
I understand.
So I can't ever like. There we go. I can't ever like get fully into it because I always feel like, well, I know what's going to happen. Saitama's going to show up and everything's going to be fine, no matter what. Like that, it kind of kills. Yeah, it becomes predictable and it kills kind of like the joy of watching something happen for me. Even in series where like in Naruto, where like I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that the main characters are going to win no matter what. And even if they don't win, like they're not going to die. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure of that. There were still moments in the series when I didn't know what was going to happen, where I'm like,
I guess
this looks a little dicey. Fuck.
the biggest difference with that is One Punch Man. Yeah, Saitama is the savior of the entire verse versus Naruto and other shonen. Side characters can be the savior. It's not always just the main character saving the day. Side characters can do it, which is to me that's good writing, because you're giving breath into these side characters and whatever. Equal load. You'd like an equal load.
I would.
Oh,
don't get it in my eye.
Oh, right. Jesus
but anyways,
Christ.
The point being that it makes me feel like, again, like there's stakes. Like if something doesn't have any stake,
medium rare,
and I feel like there's nowhere like this is gonna go, and it's gonna make me feel like the whole series is banking on whether or not the group can overcome this challenge, then I'm like, I kind of get bored of it.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, One Punch Man is like, I'd rather watch Solo Leveling because it's the same thing, but at least there are moments in the story where I'm like, he looks like he's struggling. I don't think he'll do it. Like Jinwoo still has to do some crazy weird shit to make things happen, as opposed to Saitama, who just kind of shows up and says, "Oh, I should probably give you a punch."
Yeah. He's a special kind of guy for sure. He's more concerned about groceries, for crying out loud.
The comedy of it is good.
Oh yeah,
the comedy of the series is great. I love it. That I love. The humor, everything, that part's good, but it's like the overarching like plot of the hero part is the part that doesn't get me.
I get that, yeah. And the artwork is fantastic too. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's taken them like 6 years to animate or whatever, because the details in the manga are extremely intense, just like Junji fucking manga. So, you know, one looks at, or even Berserk manga, like animating the eclipse is a fucking nightmare because there's so much detail in the faces and shit. So that's always a challenge.
So many faces.
Yeah, that's always a challenge when it comes to the for manga to animation, is getting all the inquisitive details like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for the normal geek news that we have here for the week.
I gotta find a way to make my glasses not reflect my screen so brightly.
Well, just not wear glasses. You could just wear contacts, you know. Sharingan, no, you don't want to. Shark. I thought if I ever wore contacts, I would get the shark teeth ones that are like completely black and have like white teeth on top and bottom. That would have been cool, but I failed at putting contacts in my eyes, so I gave up on that shit.
I would rather not poke my eye with my finger, so
that's what happened to me. It was very annoying, so I'd rather wear glasses. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for the geek news. And for today's main topic, it's favorite arcade games. Any amount, doesn't really matter, but favorite arcade games. Do you have what would you say is your favorite arcade game?
Obviously, we're gonna have to go with Street Fighter.
But which one?
I mean, all of them are good depending on where and what you're talking about. Like every single Street Fighter game has been great in the arcade.
Yeah, of
Street
course.
Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha series,
Street
Fighter 3 series, fucking Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and on to Street Fighter 6. Like, Street Fighter is just a dominant force in the arcade world.
Well, yeah.
But I will digress away from the fighting games and talk about, like, actual arcade games and the way that people think about them. You think about arcade games, in my mind, I think about being a kid in a Chuck E. Cheese running around playing, like, side-scrolling beat-em-up games or like shooting games and things like that. Like
Time Crisis, House of the Dead.
Games, the fighting games take precedence in the arcades, and they are the kings of the arcade, in my opinion. Still,
precedence, not presidents.
I said precedence.
You said precedence, not presidents. You said presidents.
I said precedence.
Anyway.
Oh my god. I digress. I think for mine, one of my favorite arcade games, and like you said, there's a lot of good ones like House of the Dead. Every time I think of House of the Dead, I just think of that one dude you try to save in the beginning of the
Oh
game. And he
God.
goes, I don't want to die. And he
Yeah.
dies right there.
God.
It's literally the same thing I think about all the time.
Those games were crazy.
Jack likes to remember the part where he goes, suffer like G did. And I'm just like, dude, he says it all the time. But my favorite fucking arcade game as a kid growing up was 100% the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games.
Never played them.
I loved them. Oh my God, you never played it?
The only Ninja Turtle game I played was the one on PS2. That was like 3D and shit. Because I remember you jump in the air and you do a bicycle kick, and one of the Ninja Turtles says "Eat feet." Yeah, that's all I remember.
Dude, yeah. I don't remember which one it was. I remember playing the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on an arcade system at this old pizza place that used to be near where I lived when I was like really young, and I lived in North Carolina still. Mm-hmm. And I would always beg my like dad or my like grandparents for like quarters or something so I could go play it. And it was like one of my favorite things. Every time we went out to that place, I remember I would always want to play that game. And I think side-scrolling beat-em-ups did a lot for gaming in general, because that was like your bread and butter back in the day. You had Streets of Rage, you had Golden Axe, you had fucking
Double Dragon.
What other ones? You had the
Shinobi.
Dungeons and Dragons
Kinda.
one. Yeah, Shinobi technically was a side-scrolling beat-em-up still. It wasn't like move up and down like, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh,
all the other ones were. But
well, it's Time Soldiers.
You
move up and you can move like this. That was one of my favorite. It's not my favorite, but it was one of my favorites because he passed away, but one of our uncles that lived in San Diego, he had it in the garage. So my brother and I, it was hot as fuck because it's a garage. We would play in the garage for like a couple hours, and we'd just hit
that giant machine didn't make it any colder either.
God damn, it was burning. We were sweating, but we would just do this, so we got 100 lives, and we would constantly play that shit every time we went over there, and we would beat the game. We probably beat the game like 10 to 20 times every time we played it. It was so fucking fun. But yeah, continue with the beat 'em up.
But yeah, I mean, those kinds of games like built the foundation of like 90s and late 80s like arcades. Like you had, like I said, fighting games were everywhere. You had Mortal Kombat, you had SNK, Neo Geo fighters like King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting.
Yeah.
You had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. You had all these different fighting games. Fucking Primal Rage even. But aside from fighting games, you had your side-scrolling beat-em-ups, and that was ones where you could play like X-Men. What was it called? Shit, the X-Men arcade game.
Yeah, I remember.
It was literally just called X-Men. It was just that you picked your favorite character, whoever it would be, Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, whoever. You picked your favorite Ninja Turtle, and you got to play as them, and you did things. It was fun. It was cool, and it made it accessible for more than just two people to go against each other. It was cooperative as well. So it made people play together in the arcades. The Simpsons, had a fucking side-scrolling beat-em-up game, and it was fantastic. Yeah. Everyone did it, and it was good. It was a good time. I really, really loved that. I think of all the arcade games, those are probably my favorite.
Okay. For me, I don't think you've ever heard of this. Most people haven't. It's called Virtual On Cyber Troopers.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, thank God. I remember the story behind this is I think it was in middle school. I was at the YMCA summer camp. We were part of this older group called Adventure Camp. And so that one, we went on a lot of field trips. And one day we went to Castle Park, the theme park. And
I remember Castle Park.
One of my friends, his name was Alan, he was like, "Hey, Chris, come over here. I found this really cool game." It was Virtual On Cyber Troopers. It was, for those of you who don't know, it's a mech arena fighting game, and the controls are two joysticks that you can move side to side, up and down, forward and back. And there was a button on top for your secondary ability, and then there was the trigger for your main ability, whatever. And usually it was like just a You'd have like a sword attack, and then you have like a long range, like a missile or a laser beam attack or whatever. That game was amazing, so much that I will always remember it, because the second time I ever saw this was when I was with my cousin John here. We were in Little Tokyo many years ago we went to the arcade, and in the corner there was Virtual on Cyber Troopers, and I almost lost my shit because I wish I had the money. I would have bought the fucking thing and brought it home if I had a truck. I played it for a little bit while John and everyone else was playing Street Fighter, because those were the days where we were really into arcade Street Fighter games and shit. I mean, this guy fought Justin Wong, for fuck's sake.
Not well.
No, he got deleted really quickly. I was impressed by how good he was after seeing how good you were. I was just like, this guy is on a whole other level than my cousin. Oh, yeah. It's insane. But, I mean, that must have felt amazing just playing against the champ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I feel like playing against Jay Wong wasn't as fulfilling to me as it was to play against Daigo when I went to the Super Street Fighter 4 release party.
See, that's insane.
That was really cool. That one was fun. They you got in line, you got to go up and play against Daigo, this and that. It was only a best of like the one fight, but I got one round on Daigo. I was impressed. I was happy.
That's awesome.
Damn, dude, this is awesome.
You'll never forget.
I wanted to play like newer characters, but I was like, dude, I'm gonna play a new character and get demolished.
Yeah. You don't want to learn that.
I was like, I'm not that good. I'm gonna play my main because fuck them. But it was good. It was a fun fight.
That's good. But yeah, I love the game. I love mechs. I love mech fighting games, whether they be Japanese style or American style, like Mech Warrior games, because I love all kinds of giant robots and fighting. But and then years later, I discovered the Xbox Marketplace, when people gave a shit about it, had the digital version of it. So I bought it and it's on my Xbox Live account somewhere if I ever have an Xbox again, so I can re-download it and play it, because I had it for the 360. And if
they didn't take it out.
No, yeah. And I was really happy. And then I also found a CD version for PC, and I bought that too. I fucking lost it. But one day I'll buy it again, because it's a remarkable game. I've never seen a game like that where it's the 3D arena mech fighting game. It's really fast. It's fun. It's great to play. And then there's other installments of it later on. But I like the original one the best, because that's the first one I played.
I think for Virtual On, it was more of the gimmick of being able to play in like that cockpit setting on the arcade machine. That is what I think was like the best part about it, because if you take all that away, it is just another mech arena fighter.
I didn't know you could be in the cockpit. It was third person.
Oh, well, I mean the way that the
controller,
the controlling of it.
That's
Like if you have that set up at home, then you're getting the real full experience from it. But otherwise, playing it on just like a regular controller, it's not the same. It feels like any other mech game you would find and play at the time.
That's why when I play Mech Warrior, or when I used to play Mech Warrior, I would play with the HOTAS, the stick setup. For people that don't know, that's the hands-on throttle and stick. Or you can do the HOSAS, which is just two sticks, no throttle, pretending like you're in a cockpit. For viewers that do know, Steel Battalion was the only other one that had one similar to that. That was an Xbox game. It came with a gigantic fucking console with buttons and a throttle and a stick that you can control as if you were in the cockpit of a giant mech. And I never got to play it because that cost like $150 at the time, and that was a lot of money for 15 years ago for a video game. And I didn't want to pay that much, so I just watched people play it. It was really cool. I love fucking mech games. There needs to be more, which is why I'm excited for Mecha Break, and what have you. But I can't play with a HOTAS anymore with Mech Warrior because it's too slow. Because I don't know how I was able to do it as a kid, but it's too slow. It's easier just to do with the mouse and keyboard, which is still gives me the feel of being in a cockpit because I'm not using a controller. I'm still pressing different buttons and using a mouse and whatever.
It's a little bit on there still.
Yeah, but I like that. Yeah, because I don't know. Would you consider BattleTech an arcade game, even if it was like a private thing? Do you know what BattleTech is?
Yeah, I'm. I mean, kind of. They
Battle
did have like BattleTech like
the pods.
arcade things.
Yeah, that would
So like,
be my ultimate favorite fucking, I guess if you would call it an arcade game, because they had back years ago. I at this place in Pasadena, it was called Virtual World. You'd pay $30 for an hour. You hop in a room full of like 20 different pods. Inside the pod, it imitates the cockpit of a giant mech. And so you would hop in there. They would close the door on the side. You would flick the buttons on as if you were in a robot. You would power it on. You would set your weapons to ready and all this. You would distribute power. And you had the throttle here to speed up and slow down. The stick in the side to move from left to right. You can jump up and down. It was fantastic. Now it's impossible to find those. They're like 50 grand for a pod, and you can if you're smart enough, you can configure it to fit any mech game, because my uncle's friend was able to do that for one of the Mech Warrior games, which is fantastic. But yeah, that experience alone made me really love mech stuff in general, because I just like the feeling of being inside a giant robot and controlling it and just causing mayhem. That shit was fucking cool.
it is fun. Mechs are a integral part of us growing up, especially people who like watched Gundam, or people who maybe like got into the Robotech series, or even
that's Uncle Neil. Yeah, I need to watch that.
What else? There was so many other things. The fucking Pacific
Evangelion,
Rim,
that too.
Evangelion, yeah.
That mind fuck of an anime.
There was a lot of mech stuff growing up in the 90s, and it was fun. It was cool, and I think that gave us all that little mech fantasy to have.
Yeah,
new age kids get their flesh mechs with fucking Attack on Titan and whatever, but
lame. Not the same as giant robots flying through space and shit.
Cool as shit.
Fuck
I love Attack on Titan. Don't get me wrong, but it's a different kind of
You were blurry
experience.
as fuck, by the way.
Mm.
It's because you don't have enough light in your room. That's
yeah, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I totally agree. I love whenever people tell me they don't like giant mechs fighting and shit, I'm like, there's something wrong with you. Like, you didn't have a childhood if you didn't like the idea of giant mechs fighting big battles and whatever. You suck.
I don't know if you didn't have a childhood, but like, I can hear where you're coming from in the sense that like, oh, you missed out on a big part of the 90s.
Yeah, that's like missing out on kaiju as a kid. Giant monsters fighting each other like Godzilla. Like, that's fun to me. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, I think it is pretty fun. But I mean, aside from that, just going through the arcade roster, there's so many fun, cool things. Like the shooting games were so cool, and they've gotten so much better like as time has gone by. Like now they have like these like arcade shooter games where they have little like gel shots inside of them, and that actually like mimic like airsoft guns or whatever have you. And they'll have screens that actually, you know, take the recoil of the shot and everything. Just shooting shit on the screen is really fucking fun, and it feels really solid. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure they're really expensive machines, and their maintenance is insane because you have to, you know, recover all the gel shots and put them back at the end of the day or whatever. But that shit is cool as fuck. I can't remember the name. I actually played it with Brandon last time we went to an arcade.
Oh, nice.
But the culture of arcades has changed so much, especially with like the closure of like all of the like classical arcades. New age arcades like Round One and stuff like that have really changed the landscape of what it is.
That too.
Or Dave and Buster's, yeah.
Bolero.
I still don't fucking consider Dave and Buster's an arcade.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not the same. It's not the same kind of arcade. Like Round One, I can consider an arcade because it has the staples.
Yeah, that's a specific arcade. That's like, this is an arcade. When you think of an arcade, it's Round One.
Yeah, but like Dave and Buster's is just like an entertainment zone.
Okay, it's like Chuck E. Cheese for adults.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an adult Chuck E. Cheese, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but like it just the word arcade and Dave and Buster's doesn't match in my head for some reason.
Yeah, no, I get that.
They still got cool stuff to do and everything, but theirs is like more focused on like the racing games and like the fun little like claw, not even like the claw games. I feel like it's more
the
like
gotcha game.
Like
well, I call them gotcha games because they fuck you over. The stacker game. That shit too.
Yeah, there you go. That one. Yeah. Freaking Round One is all about claw machines, but like Asian claw machines, like
Oh,
the
legit
fun ones.
Yeah.
The ones that are like really cool and different, not just like line, grab. Like, no, you
Yeah.
got to line this up, grab it, and pick up some fucking ping pong balls and drop it into the bucket.
Yeah.
Like,
That shit is hard.
or break the, plushie off of the Velcro straps to get it to drop in and everything. Like, it's they're different now. They're very much different. But I think I do miss classical arcade style stuff.
As do I.
Just a couple rows of like arcade cabinets with a bunch of fighting games in it, and a bunch of nerds who are too sleep deprived to go back home and sit there and play all night.
I know, right? My favorite
those days.
My favorite, I guess, fighting game one was one that was really good at. It was Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. That one doesn't get a lot of attention because usually it's just Marvel versus Capcom. That's where I found my perfect combo of fighters, which was I beat the game by myself with no other kids in the arcade, and this is how I knew I loved it. It was, I think they had it at Knott's Berry Farm one time, and I went to a summer camp called Kids Club, and I discovered it. That's also where I discovered mineral water. It was absolutely disgusting. Because they said it was Sprite, and I'm like, this isn't fucking Sprite. This tastes like I'm drinking a metal pipe.
It might have been Sprite.
Hell no, it wasn't
the
Sprite.
Flavor pod must have been like shot to hell.
I guess
and then
so.
It was literally just the soda water.
It was grody. But yeah, Marvel Superheroes Street Fighter. This is the one where the final boss is it's Shin Akuma. No, it's Cyber Akuma. Akuma becomes a cyborg. And you have to fight him. My team, my go-to team, which is the same in Marvel vs. Capcom with one additional character, is Wolverine and Ken. I don't know how I was able to figure it out. I would go in there with Wolverine, just start tearing shit up really quick, and then throw Ken in there for some big heavy hits and whatever. For my MVC2 team, it's those two plus the Hulk. I need the Hulk in there to lay down some heavy fucking damage while I fuck shit up with Ken and Wolverine. That's the best I ever got at a fighting game was Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. I really love that one.
I like those. I love the crossover fighters.
Yeah,
I feel
me too.
Crossover fighting games are always like kind of like a fun time. They don't need to be massively competitive or anything. Like they're just a cool little thing.
They're good. Another one that I really liked that I was fantastic at. This is also a funny story. It's called Super GT. It's a racing simulator.
Oh, I know which one. Yeah,
I remember I discovered this game when I was 12. I was on a cruise ship to Mexico, and my mom left me, my brother, and I at the kids club on the ship so she can chill out on the deck or whatever the fuck she was doing. And my brother and I went to go play arcade games, and I found Super GT, and I started racing the other kids, and I was kicking their ass. I would only play... I'd fucked it up too. I would only play the beginner map, the easy one, but I was able to do it with every car. I did it with the Porsche, I did it with the Ferrari, and I did it with the McLaren, and I did it with the Dodge Viper.
The what?
The McLaren. Shut up.
There you go.
This is where I also discovered my favorite cars, the McLaren F1. I loved it. I made mine yellow. That's the standard one. Now I wish I had $16 million to buy one, but I would probably never drive it. And I would beat people with that shit because I knew exactly when to break. And I did it on automatic and manual. Fuck you, Simon. I know how to drive manual in video games. So I did that. And then I also like the Dodge Viper. It was the 1997 Dodge Viper. And it had an ugly alternate skin color of metallic orange with two blue stripes down the center. The standard color was metallic silver with two blue stripes down the center. But because it was so ugly, I like using the orange one because I'm like, this looks interesting to me because it doesn't fit in with every other color car.
Yeah. It's just this bright colored crap.
Yeah. I'm like, I wasn't really a fan of the Ferrari because of the way they designed it. They had this ugly spoiler on it. If I look at a Ferrari, I prefer just like a stock look. I don't like any additions to it. But and the Porsche it was just an ugly yellow Porsche. But yeah, the McLaren was fantastic in that one. I kicked every kid's ass. They were like, why don't you get off? I'm like, well, you have to beat me. I sat there for 2 hours kicking every kid's ass in the arcade. I'm like, you can't beat me. So it's time to leave. Bye, kids.
That's fucked up.
Too bad.
Funny, but that's
get
fucked
good.
Up.
Exactly. Get fucking good. Do you have any games like that for arcade that you were just kicking ass?
I had my nights when I would play Third Strike, but never anything where I was just like going back
the king
to back on everybody. Like, but then again, like I never bullied a bunch of little kids on a fucking.
I was
arcade
12.
game.
I didn't give a fuck. Oh.
Every once in a while it happens when I go to like round 1 now. Like people will see me playing like one of the older Street Fighters or something and come up and be like, "Oh, I haven't played this in a long time." And every once in a while it's like an actual good player and I'm like, "Oh, I have to play this seriously."
Yeah.
But like there's a handful of times where it's just like, you know, dads with their kids being like, "I used to play this a lot when I was your age," things like that. And I'm like, I still play this a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I feel so bad, and it's like, "Oh man, you're so good." And it's like, "Thank you." I like playing Street Fighter.
That's yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention another really good arcade games are the Star Wars games. The Star Wars Pod Racer.
I didn't like Pod Racer.
I loved it. You literally sit in a fucking pod race and that's so.
I think that's
sick.
cool, but I just did not like the game. I felt like the game handled like crap. I didn't like it. I liked the you know, the X-Wing game. That one was fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Those were really fucking cool. It was on the rails and everything, but it was still really like a fun time.
My uncle has the original X-Wing arcade game cabinet is in our living room, so we could power it on and play that. And he has it next to a Mrs. Pac-Man one with like Dig Dug and a couple other games.
Super cool.
Fuck yeah, that's so cool. But the other Star Wars game is fantastic. That's the trilogy one that takes you through all 3 movies. That one is phenomenal. That's like one of the best arcade games ever made.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
Yeah,
especially all the cool mini games. Like you'd have the lightsaber fights and everything. You have to block up here, block down there, and then come back down and cut this way. It's like, oh, that's so cool.
That was good. That was good arcade design for sure.
Yeah, it was a great arcade design. It's timeless. I mean, I still see it in like arcades here and there, everywhere. Like people have maintained the like machine well enough that it's able to keep running, and it's like, dude, keep going.
If I had the money, I'd buy that shit. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. If I had the money, I'd buy an Initial D version 3.
Oh my god.
That shit was awesome.
I never played those.
I love racing games. I still have a card for my Maximum Tune 5.
Damn.
I used to have all my Initial D3 cards, but I fucking lost them. Because all the arcades stopped using version 3. They all started upgrading. Eventually, and I was just like, oh, I guess I have to move with the times, but I never found an arcade that had cards for the game, so I just never got one.
Fair enough. Yeah. What about another favorite, Metal Slug. Metal Slug is just fantastic. I love the fact that you can just pick soldiers and just plow through enemies on the side of the screen with a friend or whatever, and it's just fun just shooting shit in that fucking game. It's like the bullet hell games. I love bullet hell games as well. Those are fucking amazing to play and whatnot. It's just cool.
Another fine example of the side-scrolling beat 'em up, shoot 'em up craze that took over from the mid to late 80s to the 90s.
Yep. I wish there was like a 3D version of Metal Slug, but still side-scrolling, just like 3D models and whatever. That would be cool because you could add like way more effects and what have you, besides the pixels and whatnot. Yeah, that'd be fucking cool. I guess
honestly, all these old arcade games is kind of like what got me into like pixel art in general. You know, like pixel art to me has always been something super cool because I've grown up seeing a lot of it in, you know, some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Because I grew up in the 8-bit, 16, 32-bit era.
Yes, we did.
But yeah, I love that. There's so many cool like designs and things that have come out of these old games that are just iconic. Yeah. You know?
I think, and then to name one more favorite arcade game, well, for me is Time Crisis. Specifically Time Crisis 2, because that was the first one I played. It's not as advanced as 3 and 4, but I love this so much that I actually got it on the PS2. Unfortunately, that version was shitty. I even bought the guns, and they would never match up, so it was kind of a waste of money. But I loved it because compared to House of the Dead, you didn't have the foot pedal to hide. You would just stand there and you'd have to reload off screen and shoot and try to shoot whatever's coming at you. Time Crisis, you have to actually pretend like you're in a fight. You'd be here and you press the pedal, you move to the side, you bang, 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 stuff like that. That shit, I love that kind of innovation for video games and whatnot. That shit is fucking cool.
I do enjoy that. I feel like Time Crisis kind of started getting out of hand past the third one.
Yeah.
Three was good, but then 4 and 5 have been like these nightmarish fucking like B-rate action movies from like 2077.
Oh yeah,
it's just like, dude, what the hell is going on in this thing?
It got ridiculous.
But like 1, 2, and 3 were all really good. I like 2 the best, I think, because I felt like it was the most grounded with just the pistol.
Mm-hmm. It was good times. Good times. I can't think of any other really standout arcade games. To me,
I mean, there's pinballs.
I didn't really get into pinball
machines. I love pinball machines. They're always fun.
Skee-ball. I like skee-ball. Skee-ball was fun. I wouldn't really try to aim all the time for
games now.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the arcade.
That's true.
I didn't really aim for like the 100 spots. I'd always try to aim for like the 50 because that one was more achievable than trying to go for the 100 holes and whatnot.
Yeah, those things were hard.
Hard as cock. I mean, what?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't. Oh, okay. Here's a really good ticket game that I remember I spent so much time trying to do. One of the ones
where you drop coins on the thing?
God, no. I played a little bit of that, but I'm like, this shit's stupid. No, it's the light that goes around in a circle, and you have to stop it in between.
It's basically the same fucking thing.
It is not. No, the viewers or listeners, you can know what this is. It's a game where you enter your token in, and then this light starts going around. All the bulbs start lighting up in sequence, and you have to stop it in between these two bridges of light, so you can get the jackpot, whatever it was. And so I was so good at getting it just close, just one light away. And I would do it about 10 times in a row, and then the jackpot would increase, and then every now and then I'd hit the jackpot. So the most tickets I ever had, I think this was at a Dave & Buster's, the most I ever had was 5,000 tickets. I'm like, holy fucking shit. I was good at timing this. And segueing into another game, it's like the Stacker. I did the same thing in Vegas years ago when I was too young to gamble. When my mom took me to Circus and I saw a stacker machine and I saw an iPod Nano in there. My stupid ass thought it was an iPod Nano. And this was before I hated Apple and everything. I was like, okay, I could probably sell this shit. I could get like, $100+. I spent about $10 on the stacker machine trying to get all the way to the top. I finally get to the top. I pick the iPod Nano. I open it up. Nowhere does it say Apple. It's a fucking cheap knockoff, and I fell for this shit because it looked exactly like it. Now, every time I go up to a stacker game, I'm looking in the window. I'm like, is this official? Is this official? Yeah, it's a Nintendo Switch. I see the logos. Okay, that's legit.
Yeah, they've definitely changed their marketing.
Yeah, good, because that shit was stupid, lying to people like that.
I mean, it wasn't a lie. You just didn't read it close enough.
I was a kid. I don't remember how old I was. Oh! It was in, speaking of arcades, GameWorks. You remember that?
I remember GameWorks.
I remember that because the first one I discovered was not in Vegas. That's the one that goes underground, which is fucking cool.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that one's gone. The one I discovered first was in Ontario Mills. And I know this one because that was when Arnold Schwarzenegger was campaigning to be the governor of California, and he was there, and I couldn't get out of the fucking arcade because there was a mob of people in the way. But funny. That was cool. I loved that arcade. It was fantastic. I wish I could go back to it. I don't even know if it's still there, but yeah, GameWorks was always a really cool fucking. That was a really good arcade. It's a shame to see them go. More people need to play that stuff. The Jurassic Park game was fun, where you sit down and shoot the dinosaurs and shit. You remember that?
Actually, I just saw a video about the Jurassic Park game. I don't remember where I saw it. I think I saw it on Instagram, and I was just like, God damn, that game's so old.
And it was awesome. You shoot the fucking T-Rex that tries to eat you while you're in a Jeep running away. That was awesome. I remember... I think I remember the specific moment where I might notice that there was a big change happening for arcade games too, and that was when they started incorporating VR. So the first VR arcade game I saw was the roller coaster one. They would have you sit there with like a headset, and it would make you. It would simulate being on an actual roller coaster. It was really cool. And the other games like that was was like I guess I don't know what to call it other than a Gatling gun simulator, because it would simulate, you would put this, it was just like a turret simulator. You would pull this.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, for listeners and viewers, you would pull this harness, this helmet thing down that was hanging on a crane-like apparatus above your head for the arcade machine. And you would put it over your face, and you would grab the controls that were attached to it, and you would turn left and right as if you were either on a turret or on the gunner position on like an airplane or whatever, and you would shoot enemies through that. That shit was fucking cool, and I was really happy to see that technology be implemented in arcades, because it was advancing games in the arcade place as a whole, and whatnot. That stuff was cool, and it helped with the immersion, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Getting put in a VR helmet of any kind always helps with immersion.
That's why I have fucking
even with like the sandbox VR stuff that's around right now, like, you know, that shit's crazy. Yeah.
That's why I have an Oculus Quest too, because it's fun. I like playing Blade and Sorcery, running around with the giant Dragon Slayer, hearing tang, tang, hitting fucking people with my giant frying pan of a hunk of iron. Yeah. It's not a sword, it's a hunk of iron. Or stabbing the shit out of people in the game, or just snapping their necks. That shit's fun. No, I don't need to go to therapy. The game is my therapy. But yeah.
Question mark.
But I think that's it for arcade games. Do you have anything to add?
Bring back arcades.
Somebody
go out into the world and bring back some arcades for us, please, because they're all gone and I miss them. And it was just like the fighting game community is just not the same as it used to be.
I can't imagine. That sucks.
Just not the same.
Arcades were an integral part of our childhood. It was fantastic. It was a great way to come together with friends, family, and complete strangers and create new bonds over a common interest, which is whatever arcade game was in front of you, to the point where if you were playing, and I learned this from visiting arcades with my cousin here, part of the arcade culture is to, when you are next in line, you place a quarter on the arcade cabinet, telling the next person, if you fucking lose, get the fuck off, because it's my turn next. And I never knew that was a thing, because I played as a kid. Kids don't know that, but when I got older as a young adult, that was part of the arcade culture, and it was nice to do that, because you would just
unspoken rules. Yeah, basically, it's just arcade etiquette.
Yeah, there you go, etiquette. And arcades. Yeah, I definitely like talking to people, because I would stand there and watch whoever's playing, and I would converse with whoever's behind me. I'm
waiting in line.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my cousin. You know, he does this. He taught me how to do this. And it's like, oh, who's your character? I'm like, oh, my character's Ken. It's like, well, I like his flaming shoryuken. He's like, oh, did you try this? You should try this technique instead. And I watched you last match. You maybe try not being so flashy. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can work on that. They try to help each other. Specifically, the fighting game community, they try to help each other out and become better players and whatnot, which I...
Most of the time.
Yeah. Back then, for sure it was.
I was going to say, let's all not totally forget that trash talk is a major part of the fighting game community as well.
Oh, yeah. Of course it is. When trash talk is necessary, it is. But arcades have always been integral to video gamers and people's childhood, so it needs to make a comeback outside of places like Chuck E. Cheese and Dave and Buster's. I know there's one in and the Retro Arcade in Pasadena, because I know they were going bankrupt, so they had to have a GoFundMe, I believe, to raise like $25,000, because they lost a bunch of money due to COVID several years ago, and they were able to bounce back. So you can pay for like an hour or a couple hours just to play all the games in there. How cool is that? All you do is you pay a set one-time fee, and you're there for however amount of time you were allowed to be in there. Just like an internet cafe. I used to pay $20 an hour, and I just play whatever games I want to fucking play for an hour, and I'd be there for like 6 hours at a time. Some days. That's how much it was. It was. I remember I went there.
I remember the last time I went to a net cafe, it was like fucking like 7 or 10.
Oh,
And that
Okay,
was when
maybe
I
it
was in high
wasn't 20.
school.
Maybe it was okay. Yeah, maybe it was like $10 an hour. I don't remember. It
I
was
say like $20 is kind of fucking hiking. Holy hell!
I remember I used to go to that too with my fucking my brother. He'd sit down and play stupid ass Maple Story while I was playing fucking Counter Strike
Hello Kitty Island
1.6.
Adventure.
Shut the fuck up. It was Neopets. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'd be playing
definitely was
Counter Strike. I've never played Neopets for the record. But point is, arcades are amazing. A good way to play arcade games in case you don't have the money, if you don't feel like going to one, if you don't have any on your console or want to buy one, you can always check out the emulator called MAME. I discovered that a long time ago. The MAME emulator hosts a bunch of old classic arcade games that I've never even heard of. It doesn't even have to have the big names like Street Fighter or any of that, but a lot of them are just pixel games. Like Pitfall is in there, for crying out loud. There's a lot of old classic games you can get out of emulators, but I just recommend trying to go find a great arcade to go to and pop some coins in and start playing, because arcades are a great way to improve your life as a gamer. It's fun. But
good social spaces.
Indeed.
Social spaces for us.
Yeah. But
you know what else is a good social space?
What's that?
Patreon.com.
Oh, really?
Can get all of our stuff for just $1.
Only
$1? We
$1?
record it. Only $1.
Oh.
And you can get access to all sorts of other cool things like our pre-show shots and other random things that are posted on there. Yes. It's only $1.
And you get access to the audio the day it's recorded. Like today, March 8th, I am going to upload this as soon as I'm done hitting record. Yep. Only $1.
The second. No editing. Just nothing. It's just straight in. It's just raw.
Raw. Like a butthole. Fuck. Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Well,
it's only $1.
Check us out. You can check us out there. You can check us out on Instagram at For the Geeks with 2 S's. Don't ask me why. The person who had the original one just never dropped the number.
He keeps uploading shit to YouTube that nobody watches. Nerd.
Yeah, we're on YouTube as well at For the Geeks Podcast. It's fine. You don't need to watch it. Just stop by, click like, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I got to work on making shorts again, but we'll get there eventually.
Me too. Yeah.
You can find us on Twitch at For the Geeks Games. We stream on there. We stream on YouTube. You can find Seger at
Seger Plays on Twitter. It's not X. Twitter and on Instagram and Twitch. It's Seger Plays. Or you can go to my personal Instagram, which is Seger VFX. There I post my artwork of photography and compositing work, as well as bitch and complain about everyday life in my stories. So you can listen to that. But yeah, those are my outlets and whatever. Where can they find you? Nowhere.
Well, if you want to find me on Twitch, you can find me at Yo-Yo Ninja Boy with 2 eyes, because I made this name when I was like fucking 11.
Oh my God.
And it just stuck.
It's good that you held on to it.
Yeah. I'm glad that I was able to get it everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And then I find out that I made accounts in places before, and I'm like, shit, I can't use that now. So now I have to use a different one, but that's for another time. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Yo-Yo Ninja Boy. I stream actually a lot more frequently lately than usual. I've been doing Monster Hunter Wilds playthrough. Been doing a little bit of Tactics Ogre here and there.
What days do you stream?
Stop by. It's varietous.
That's a word.
It depends on the day.
Fair enough.
Typically, though, I do stream from about 9 p.m. till about midnight Pacific time. So that's around the times you get me. On the weekends, I tend to stream a little earlier. So like today, I might stream in just a few hours from about 5 till like...
Oh, for real? Okay.
10-ish maybe. We'll see.
Oh, wait. Are you going to
depends on how I feel right now.
You have Bro Night, too, to come to.
Yeah. So like...
do a joint stream.
We could. But we'll see how I feel in a few hours or in a couple hours, depending.
Yes.
I might stream. I might just save it for later.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think that's all we've got for today.
That's all we got, people. Thank you for listening.
I'm dying, so.
He's dying. Check us out on our socials we just mentioned. Check out the Patreon if you care. It's only $1. We'd really appreciate it. But until next time, game like you mean it. Booby lips!